We've been talking about AI. Okay, so we've been talking about how AI is rapidly affecting us exponentially. It affects us in the entertainment industry. You guys know we've been covering the entertainment effects of AI. We haven't looked at the music part of it too much, but interestingly enough, journalist and colleague, and I know he's been on with Pasta before, and we'd love to have him on the Homeless Left, James Lee, did a little kind of, he looked into a little story going on Spotify right now, and how Spotify seems to be creating their own musicians and elevating them on their platform. Who are these musicians? They might not actually exist. Let's let
no.
Yeah, they might not actually exist. Let's hear James tell us about one of them. These AI startups of some sort. This particular one is called the band's name is The Velvet Sundown. It sounds so human. That just to me, I don't know. The Velvet Sundown. That sounds like a computer did it. But let's hear James.
We're gonna be out of a job. You do realize that, Matt? Like pretty soon, there's gonna be like artificial versions of you and me, or that will look like you and me, and that's it. We'll be out of a job.
We're done. Thrown in the towel. All right, let's hear about that Velvet Sundown. Here we go.
There's apparently a band called the Velvet Sundown on Spotify, and it was supposedly formed by singer and Mellotron player Gabe Farrow, guitarist Lenny West, and Milo Raines, as well as a, quote, free-spirited percussionist Orion Rio Del Mar. According to reports, none of them have ever been interviewed, nor do they have, quote, a single shred of internet presence. In other words, they might be an AI-generated band. But shockingly, they have almost 500,000 monthly listeners, which is kind of bizarre. And I think I figured out what's going on. So according to this new book called The Mood Machine, Spotify has allegedly been promoting ghost artists in order to not pay royalties to real artists.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
I know it. Just like what's happening on YouTube. Just like what's happening on YouTube. They don't want to pay. They don't want to pay content creators. They don't want to pay anybody. Even people just get like really. If anyone's going to be human and succeed, it's going to be a matter of who they know. You know.
Oh God.
I missed out on the window. I should have started in 2008. Boing.
Oh God. Okay. Well, there's more, Kit. There's more. Here we are.
Allegedly, Spotify has a secret program called the Perfect Fit Content, which involves a network of affiliated production firms and a team of employees secretly creating low-budget stock music and playing them on Spotify's curated playlists. Says here more than 150 playlists with titles such as Deep Focus, Cocktail Jazz, and Morning Stretch were populated entirely by PFC content. The author writes, quote, "In doing so, they are effectively working to grow the percentage of total streams of music that is cheaper for the platform." Makes total sense from a business perspective, and in fact, PFC has reportedly become Spotify's biggest profitability scheme. And the quote-unquote scheme is working so well that just a few days ago, it was announced that Spotify's CEO has just invested $1 billion into an AI military startup.
No.
So while we're all paying $13.99 a month to listen to the quietly spellbinding Velvet Sundown, what we're actually doing at the same time is funding dead babies. Let me know what you think of all of this, and of course, follow me if you want to support a real human journalist.
Yeah. Good job, James. Good job on that report, James. Oh my God. So not only that, so you're if you contribute to this, you're also paying for their military AI investment from the CEO, on top of the fact that this is a way to rip off artists, and then not to mention this part, dumbing us all down to the point where we just are going to regurgitate this crap and not care. And I worry the younger generation won't have real musicians to get into and really have a an interest in them as human beings who wrote music and know who they are and going on interviews and hearing they're not going to have that, because these are just non-humans doing non-human driven music that's just interchangeable with itself. Kit, I mean, this is awful for the arts.
Well, not only is it awful for the arts, but there is a risk of people being dumbed down because, and not like funny idiocracy, but more of just being dumbed down of like, well, this is the entertainment. This is what's being produced by the machine. More slop. But the thing is, here's the thing about I have hope for human creativity, and that is there's always the rebellion against the norm. That's how art always was perceived as. That is rebellion against the norm. So while AI will become mainstream, eventually it's going to be viewed with disdain. And no matter how fresh and hip it could be, there's nothing more appeasing to the human eye than something that is taboo, something that isn't machine, something that isn't, but will it have a grasp? Yeah, we're going to witness a point where a generation is just going to be consumed with the AI, but then humans, unless we truly become controllable by chemicals, by food, by computer chips and all that stuff. And I already sound crazy saying it, but in 10 years, we don't know what the world will be like, just about the amount of control to maintain us, because if there's so much despair and lack of resources, you're going to have to dumb down the populace or control us through whatever subversive or real means necessary out of fear. But this is where we're going down. And I've already seen now on my YouTube live stream recommendations of AI content creation. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but there is the Bigfoot vlogs or the Stormtrooper vlogs where they're like these bro people, like Logan Paul or Jake Paul. Okay, chat, I'm out here and I'm gonna eat some tacos. Oh no, my butt's on fire. And it's like a 1 minute content of like stupid crap. And I just helped thinking, oh, this is like, ow, my balls from Idiocracy. Bigfoot on stupid adventures with the Yeti, making dumb jokes, making stupid content, and it's getting hundreds of thousands of views. And so some AI program, and again, this is what we're going to be witnessing with the decline of Hollywood too. That is, you're going to be seeing people rely on AI to tell stories. And this is just the way things will lead to the collapse of the first of modern art, and in turn the embracing of AI art. And I worry that this may not be the second renaissance that I have hope for. You like, yes, using AI to make a movie, if there's a person doing it and they hire real voice actors to do like voice acting projects, fine. Because again, I don't want to be hypocritical here. I lent my voice to a director for a fan project, but they're using AI animation for everything else. And I'm not going to hold it against them, because if the tool is there, fine. But in order to break away from this, we have to train people to see and tell the difference between what is artificial and what is an actual human. Because there are songs and music that were created for the times by people to represent, like, look at the Vietnam, look at the 60s and 70s, especially during the 60s for the Vietnam War. Look at all the anti-war music that was happening. That was a reflection of how people felt. AI can't do that.
Yeah. Well, look, you're saying we have to educate people on how to tell the difference. And obviously people in our space, we have no choice. We can't do our job in this space if we don't know the difference. So clearly it's important. We're not going to share a breaking news story that's AI fabricated. That is a fear. That is a fear, because if you do share an AI story and it's really fake news, I mean, then you gotta be like, I didn't know. But that's going to be the problem. The technology is going to be that good to where you can't tell the difference anymore. Oh, it's so good. The one I almost fell for, I had to take a step back. I was about to share when Kanye had done something that pissed off all the Zionists in Hollywood. I saw this AI video that came out immediately, and it was so good. It had all of the people, exactly the people you thought would be in this video. It was Jerry Seinfeld, and it was a whole bunch of other Ben Stiller and a whole bunch of others. They all were wearing this F Kanye shirt, and they all had this smug look, and they're like F, and they were all flipping him off, and it was like it would zoom in on one, zoom in on the other, and I was like, this is insane. And for one moment I was like, this needs to be shared out. This needs to be like on our show, like the opening of our show. And right before I was to do it, I was like, wait a minute, there is no way they got all those people together and put this together that fast. No. And then we looked at it and I go, oh shit, man, it is
I
AI.
I know.
And how dangerous is that we're like, can you believe, like, I was about to do a story on it. Said these psychopath Zionists thought it was a good idea not to get together and talk about Gaza, but to get together and F Kanye with their smug looks. But those smug looks were AI generated. So it was feeding into the thing that we knew existed in their mind. We knew that's how they felt about it. Here's what it would look like if they got together, but they don't actually have to get together. We'll just fake one. So yes, of course we have to be careful in our space. But yeah, go ahead.
It's kind of like that. I forget. This is how dated it is, but there was that incident with, or I forget what episode of Simpson is, where Milhouse said, "Well, if it's in a book, it's got to be true, or if it's seen on YouTube, it's got to be true. If it's seen on social media, it's got to be true." And now because the technology is just that good, I am really fearful of the future. Like when I get on the phone with somebody, am I speaking to a human? Because I know for a fact that when I had to reach out to YouTube, I didn't know if I was speaking to a human or not. And that was 2023. Yeah. I don't know if my email is being read by a human being or not. I know it's Rumble and with Kick, I'm speaking to a human. That is such a rarity now to speak to a human being. That is the most frightening thing to be part of. It's just like, are you speaking to a human? And then if you're having a Zoom conference call meeting, speaking to a human, is the technology that good? I mean, I don't know anymore. It is like Blade Runner. And eventually, and with the way artificial intelligence and automation and robots now moving around, are we going to be wondering, like, if the person that's in front of you, are they even a human being or not?
Okay, so there's good news and bad news to this idea. So the good news is this. We're talking about this now. People in our space know this is important to look at. And I actually am optimistic that we will get each other's backs. Our viewers will get each other's backs. It happened. In fact, we shared something out about a Simpsons episode that aired on a particular date. And we're like, oh, this is important because Simpsons always calls the future. And then somebody wrote right in, oh, this is an AI generated episode. It didn't actually happen. I go, oh, thanks for telling me. No worries. And so I think that we're okay here. I think that we just have to do better, and we have to get each other's backs and know that we're coming from a place of honest journalism. And if we get something wrong, you apologize for it. That's not what I'm concerned about. I think that we got this part down. We'll figure it out, man. What I'm concerned about, when you mentioned earlier, is you said we have to train people how to listen to their music and watch their movies. And my problem with that is those people, as far as entertainment goes, they're not interested in knowing the difference. They don't care. That's my problem with that. They don't actually care. And I'm telling you, here in Hollywood, I gotta push back. I'll give an example. Okay. Here in Hollywood right now, in our entertainment community, people, my colleagues and producer friends here, they're very excited right now, Kit. They're very excited about this.
Oh no, I agree.
Technology where they can BS themselves through a pitch deck, through a presentation to investors, that they don't have to put a thought into it, that an AI is going to create their presentation for them, their creative vision, which won't even be based on anything real, because they're just trying to get the money for their thing. And they go, look, we could just, and I'm like, wait a minute, you're okay with this? Of course, it saves time. That's all that we care about, saving time.
Yeah, it is. And money.
And money. You had something to say. I thought you had a voice. You don't care. No, they'll figure it out, and then we just do the thing, and then we do the next thing, and we get our paycheck, and then da. I'm like, well, that's not, to me, that means you don't care, that you're okay with what's real, what's not. It doesn't effing matter to you, just as long as people, buy tickets, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
That's, and the thing is, that is how you have a bunch of people, promote this stuff. And look, I know, I could say, I'm not going to say I know, but I have seen and read and watched videos of people embracing artificial intelligence in Hollywood to where it is cost. Because again, Hollywood is in the red, unfortunately, because of, horrible decisions done by studio executives, the treatment of workers, writers, staff, the helping hand. Because the thing is, Hollywood's always thought about the directors and actors, but what about the people who make the thing happen, the movie happen? And now with artificial intelligence and the rise of just how real graphics can look, I mean, this is going to destroy the industry at many levels, including high-paid actors. Like, being a high-paid actor is going to be like a privilege, and it's like that's going to be gone. And so many people are going to be replaced, or either are going to be watching movies where you're going to see a person, you see an artificial story, and then that's it. And I worry about that brave new world. And I think we do have to train people up, because there are going to be people who want to know the difference. And there will be a difference looking at an artificial movie, which, again, I have seen some artificial animation that is really good, done by people who actually want to have human involvement and human voice actors. And then there's a difference between seeing an actual movie with real people and real set designs. I mean, you know, it's like we're at the decline era of when things used to be great, you know.
Have you seen this? I would flip this one up. Have you seen this fake behind the scenes of Avengers on set with the Avengers? And this is
No.
I don't even know what to say. Check this out. I'll turn the music off.
Wait, this is fake, right?
Yeah. Okay, we'll take the music off. Look at that. None of this is real.
Wow.
They're showing us. Look at this. This is insane. They're giving us little snippets of what's going on. None of this is happening. None of these actual actors are in a scene. Deadpool and bowing down to Robert Downey Jr. as you know, Dr. Doom, and you got these. They're just, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, and it's moving real fast, because you don't notice the camera. That doesn't look like a regular camera.
No, we'll play it again with it. Yeah, we'll just so go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
Look at this. None of this is real. What does that say about what is that? I mean, in some senses, if you're a Marvel Studio Disney exec, you might be a little concerned about this. I think that part's funny, at least. They're a little wait, we're supposed to control it with our millions of dollars.
Well, seeing Marvel Disney go bankrupt. I mean, I have my personal reasons. They should have stopped. They should have stopped at Endgame. But anyways, like, come on, you're beating a dead horse. Franchises do die out. I mean, that's the thing about a franchise. I mean, what makes a franchise memorable is that it has its key moments. You remember it, and you learn to live off the royalties. There's no sense on trying to remake Picasso. Okay, it's just how people should be looking at art. But it's always about money, and when it comes down to the dollars, if these studio execs really want to have AI run things, fine. But even that's going to die down, because there's a thing about art, but they made art expensive. Even going to school to study acting or directing or filmmaking or anything of that nature, it's now costing people an arm and a leg. It's becoming not worth it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no incentive anymore.
There is no incentive for it. So we'll end this, close this segment off with maybe a little bit of self-empowerment and some proactive just tools for you guys, because we covered this a few weeks ago with and I think this is relevant again, so I'm bringing it up with co-host Jay Scott. We found this study that was talking about specifically Chat GPT, but this is for all sorts of AI programs that people are really excited to use. I mean, you guys know, everybody's using Chat GPT. There's this new Google one that is now mixing sound and that allowed that last one we just played, the Avenger one, to be made, and now they're allowing these AI they're called prompts to talk and create their own little worlds. Well, just Chat GPT, which this one's been around for a while, but at MIT they did a study, and they're determined, and this is important. The researchers at MIT are saying that the actual AI program itself can rot your brain, and the truth is it's actually even worse, a little more complicated. So when ChatGPT appeared about almost 3 years ago, the impact of AI on learning has been widely debated. Are there handy tools for personalized education or gateways to academic dishonesty? These are things we had these doubts, but most importantly, there've been concern that using AI will lead to widespread dumbing down. And so again, the theme of our show, we talk about all the time, is get your critical thinking skills going again. Get your tribal goggles off. This is going to make it even harder. So you guys, you have to double down on this critical thinking, because here's what they determined. The dumbing down, it's the decline in the ability to think critically. If students use AI tools too early, the argument goes they might not develop basic skills for critical thinking and problem solving. But it's much, much worse than that. It's much worse than that. So according to the recent study at MIT, using this ChatGPT to help write essays, they say that it can lead to cognitive debt and likely decrease in learning skills. And here's the clincher. Over the course of 4 months, they did a study over 4 months, 54 adults. They wrote a series of essays. Some of them used the AI search engine, and some of them their own brains. So there's these two groups. And then the team measured the cognitive engagement by examining electrical activity in the brain through the linguistic analysis of the essays. The cognitive engagement of those who use AI was obviously, we knew this. I mean, this is not, a spoiler alert. It was significantly lower than the other two groups. But this group also had a hard time recalling quotes from their essays and felt lower sense of ownership of their work. And that's also a thing. Here we go, guys. Interestingly, participants switched roles for a final fourth essay, and the AI to brain group performed worse. So if you started in the AI part and then you did brain group second, they're saying their engagement was only slightly better than the other groups during the first session. So it was far below the engagement of the brain only group in their third session. So they're basically claiming, the authors of the study are claiming, that this demonstrates how prolonged use of AI leads participants accumulating cognitive debt. But when they finally have the opportunity to use their own brains, they're unable to replicate the engagement or perform as well. So this means that it's even going back and saying, you know what? Let me go back to my own brain now. I'll let this thing, I'll go. They're saying it's going to be harder for you to do that now. So this is so important that we have this information and we are aware of this, because things are only going to get worse, and the dumbing down of our human citizen population is only going to get worse and worse. I don't know, kid. It's kind of scary, but we need to know that this is a thing. And please, guys, just don't rely on this stuff for everything. Like use your own head when you can. That's I guess that's my
there was an episode of the Outer Limits a long time ago. I forget what name the title it was. But it was a world in which everyone had like an artificial headpiece to them where they could automatically learn to do things. And the character, the hero of the story, was born with a deficiency to where he couldn't adapt to the machine. So he had to learn to read and write. And apparently the machine that was already tapped into everybody was going to try and kill humanity. And instead, this one person who didn't have like the machine attached to him saved the day. And he's teaching everybody now how to read and write. Everyone has to learn it all over again. And so it's like, yeah, I'm gonna help you do this. I'm gonna help you and it's just like, God forbid we enter into that world where we become so reliant on it that we forget how to do things.
Yeah.
And the thing is, but actually, it's not the first time, really, if you think about it. But this is a bit of a stretch, and it's not a fair comparison. But it wouldn't be the first time like people forgot how to build or do pottery, because going back to antiquity, there was a thing called the Bronze Age collapse, which was a heavy decline in the major empires in the Mediterranean area. There were a lot of factors that led to its fall. And I recommend to your viewers, and I recommend to you, maybe if you get a chance, Fall of Civilization, Bronze Age collapse, and the absolute decline of the people. Everyone forgot how to do pottery, writing, and it was like, I think it lasted longer than the Dark Ages from the Roman Empire fell. I think it was for 300 years or 500 years of the Bronze Age collapse, Dark Age, which was a huge decline. People forgot how to do things. People just, there was no society. And with all of our over reliance and all of our technology, it wouldn't surprise me. Like, do you know how to start a fire? Do you know how to hunt? Do you know how to do this if everything is gone? We're so used to our food coming to us. We're not used to going to our food.
No, we're not. I mean, just getting the information out there, letting people know this stuff, I think it's the only thing we can really do. And we're kind of all on our own here, but just whenever possible, guys, just use your own brain. Do brain-driven activities. Things like do puzzles. Do Leslie and I will do crosswords, and we'll just have fun sometimes, just using our kind of critical thinking skills, just not on our screens, not on our, just take some time, guys. There's some fun games. There's some what are some of these ones? There's a whole list of some really cool stuff where you can participate in kind of competitive things that allow you to use your brain. So those are suggestions I have. Like bring it back to the basics. Like you're saying, like bring it back. And it's not about being, we're old timers and we don't want to adapt with don't be fooled by that crap. We aren't old timers not wanting to adapt. We're saying, don't let them take your humanity from you. And so go to some things that that work, that maybe you haven't done in years and years, and just whip it out, and you might be pleasantly surprised by how it makes you feel, not having your face in a screen for just like a half hour of the day.
It actually is a really good feeling when you're not connected to the machine spirit.
Yeah.